signature picks for these two teams, especially when you look towards the side of Calamity Reborn. Obviously, when you've got a player like Leon that he made his name on that Kestrel, but then that was usually CP Kestrel in the jungle. So there's definitely some signature picks. Is that something that we expect these teams to lean on here, or is it just going to be more meta-based?
Yeah, I think Leon, if he plays in lane, he likes those picks, but in jungle specifically, he likes to play a more aggressive junglers. He has an amazing Koshka, amazing Rhyme. So as long as he can get Leon on a strong, hard counter to the enemy team composition, Calamity is going to win. And I feel like that's what they need to do.
All right, well, we'll see if they can draft that counter composition. What's kind of the default that you expect to come out from G2? Because they've been, from what I've seen, they've been playing pretty standard meta stuff generally. They've been drafting well.
Yeah, they've been drafting well. They've been playing a lot of the Vox in the lane. That's Hundor's most played hero by a long shot this season. The Vox, they pair it with whatever happens to be strong at the time. We've seen them try and run it with the Kroll. We've seen them try and pick up some of the other jungles like the Kestrel in the jungle. We've seen them do it once or twice. The Captain, it's been a lot of Arden. The Grace has come out, Lyra. It's not really much different from most of the other teams when it comes to these meta picks, and they're going to stick to that with the Vox once again.
Yeah, that Vox first pick, it's been common throughout this entire season, especially when that Baron is banned away. Usually it's good to be picked into or with Grace, but Grace is going to be banned away. Vox is still a solid pick regardless. And now looking towards Calamity, they're actually going to go with a first pick Arden.
Yeah, they're going to pick Arden because G2 has played Vox, Arden, and Scarf. So maybe they're denying the Arden away from Keanu, but they do have Lance, Cath open. So there's a very good pick. So let's see if G2 is now here going to ban something that works well into Vox, or potentially take away Leon. If Leon's playing jungle, a strong, aggressive jungle that they don't want to deal with from the side of Calamity here. But I think G2 here, if they don't ban Baptiste or Cath, Calamity needs to take one of them. So Scarf is open. So now Calamity, they have to take Baptiste here. If they do not, it's going to hand over the Baptiste-Cath combination with Vox. Extremely deadly, double silence, fearsome shade, echo. Very strong. So let's see if Calamity knows that, or they're going to fall into this draft mistake here.
We see, Kroll goes through. That does mean Baptiste Catherine is available right now. We've seen this composition very few times because of how powerful it is. It gets banned basically every game. I think very important to mention as well, Stefan is going to be playing on that carry position. So Leon going back to the jungle. This is what we saw last week. Stefan, great mechanical player. However, there was definitely
clearly not there.
Yeah, the communication was just not on point.
Goodness.
Fortress actually going to be the pick, not going with the Catherine Baptiste.
This is really surprising because not only did they have Catherine Baptiste, they had the Vox Catherine Baptiste. That's the three-man combo.
Yeah, that is a terrifying combo. I've just been informed by production. It is in fact Aeon playing. The graphic is incorrect. So it is going to be the standard Calamity Reborn roster. So I retract my previous statement. They are going to have the synergy. They are going to have the coordination. But Fortress, let's go back to this pick. Obviously, Fortress very aggressive. Vox can work with aggressive compositions.
Yeah, I mean, Fortress would work if they pick like a Koshka. It would just destroy and blow up the Cruel, because Fortress actually counters the Cruel with the Mortal Wounds. Cruel relies on a lot of that sustain and that heal. So it's a good pick. I understand their reasoning, but Cath Baptiste just destroys everything. So I don't know why they would not pick that composition. They go with Glaive, so this will potentially be a double Tension Bow proc with, or maybe a Tension Shock Glaive, I'm not sure. Let's see if it's going to be a CP Glaive or go with double Tension Bow here. But that's really strong with Fortress comp, because you have the Mortal Wound percentage health, 20% health with double Tension Bow proc. They can blow up a Krur easily, because Krur has actually pretty low base health.
Yeah, he certainly does. Obviously, he kind of has like pseudo health in that he has that lifesteal. He can sustain himself during the fights, but if you can blow him up quickly, he will go down. Alongside that, Arden will have some protection. Now we look towards the final pick here for Calamity. What's the expectation, guys?
I would expect something like the Kestrel, the weapon power Kestrel in the lane. They could try and run an Idris, but with the Kroll, just have that all-in dive composition, but that would be so risky. I think they need a little bit of range, someone who can stay back and try and play on the back lines.
Yeah, they could probably do an Adagio here, potentially, with the weapon Kroll. They're going to go with Celeste. A little risky. I mean, Kestrel's risky too, because Fortress Glaive is just so strong into mages and squishies. So it's really risky here, but if they get to late game, it could work out for them with the Crew and Arden protecting her.
Yeah, the Celeste is something that to be honest, this season has been somewhat of a signature pick for Hundor. He's one of the few players that has been playing it, and now that's going onto his opponent's hands. Obviously, if you play a hero a lot, you're going to know how to play against it as well. So maybe that'll be a factor in the lane matchup. We'll have to see. So looking at the compositions then, how are we feeling about this game? Like, is there a direction you expect this one to go?
Early on, this should absolutely favor the side of G2. With a Glaive Fortress, you should be able to constantly punish this Celeste in the lane. Like, Celeste should just be getting afterburned in. She has no escape whatsoever and should be going down multiple times before we even hit the 5-minute mark.
But she is exceptional in the late game, Suijay.
Yeah, she is. And if she's protected by Arden and Cruel, you can't really dive. It's hard to dive that. She gets stacked, she can blow up whoever's diving in front of her. And she has also, you have Crow stun and a Celeste stun, so they need to combo this really well to lock down Vox or Glaive here.
All right, well, we'll see whether G2 can control the early game and start things off strong in this season, in this series. Let's remember, this is do or die for these two teams. Whoever loses this series will be knocked out of contention for the live finals. It's time to jump into this one. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know whether you're a Calamity fan or whether you're a G2 fan. But it's time to jump into our second quarterfinal and find out who will take the lead in the series.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have loaded into the Halcyon Fold here, and as our Munchables, our analysts have said, this is a huge matchup to nominate. If you lose this series, your chances at getting to the Unified Championship are done. There's so much pressure on this game.
It is. As we look at this rotation coming out of G2, 3-man engage over the top.
Over the top side, and Aeon, he's just caught out. There's no other way to say it. He didn't really have a chance there.
He didn't, but, you know, the rest of Calamity Reborn is making a very aggressive engage, coming on over to the backs. They see that their Krull has died, didn't get any of his farm, and Leon should be able to clean up these backs pretty quickly. Keanu Nakoa not quite going to make it. So realistically here, you know, if we go into this double weapon composition for the side of G2, we have the weapon Glaive, weapon Vox. Glaive obviously going to be looking for that huge upfront burst, and then Vox will be able to follow up, and that's really a huge danger to Celeste. We know Celeste is going to go a very offensive build, and you know, we talk about it all the time. Celeste, when she hits that level 8, gets very, very good at zoning, very good at poking an enemy team out. That's really the win condition here for Calamity Reborn. They have to get this Celeste online and really have to prevent Hundor from being able to make an engage. If they can... Oh, hold on. We got Calamity Reborn getting some damage down.
Yeah, Hundor taking pretty good damage. Ryu-Ren just kind of flexing on this Arden in the lane. Ooh, that's the core collapse. They're coming through. They find the kill. Leon making it happen.
Yeah, those basic attacks from Celeste are absolutely insane. That last basic attack will hunt you down forever. And it does clean up the kill on Hundor. And just like we were just talking about, you know, getting this Celeste online, getting this Celeste to a point in the game that she can really take over is really important. And so to get that First Blood gold, that First Blood bounty onto her is absolutely huge. And she's going to be returning to the lane now with a heavy prism.
I didn't even notice before. Did Keanu start with the Dragon Blood contract?
He started Dragon Blood and the Shield, yes.
Okay.
Just for that first engage, they were very, very aggressive. And it does look like we have a commitment now to this weapon Glaive paired with the weapon Vox. So really what G2 has to do here, because again, Celeste is going to get so good at zoning, and then obviously we know Krull able to get to that backline and sustain very heavily. Dark Potato has to go in and get a good reposition down onto Leon. Aeon shouldn't be able to really win a 1v3 fight or a 2v3 fight. That's just not how Krull is. He can sustain, but once you're focused on, you can drop very quickly. So it's gonna be on Dark Potato here, and here we have a fight going on.
Yeah, G2 engaged, but Calamity Reborn sniffed it out. Can they turn this around? A lot of damage onto Hundor. Hundor trying to kite back. The Sonic Zoom's there. Ryu-Ren, the afterburn. No, that's not what you wanted, Dark Potato. He's gonna have to use his boots. Kind of a swing and a miss there on that afterburn.
Yeah, he went in and actually accidentally used the punt onto the turret, and it doesn't usually work out well for you as a Glaive. So we have Calamity sticking here in the lane. Oh, man. But
that's
now
nice.
Aeon might have stayed a little too long.
They've gone too far. Aeon's down. Aeon is down.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an overstay from Aeon there. Went in pretty deep trying to find Keanu Nakoa, realized he was okay. He's a little more healthy than I thought he was. and isn't going to clean up the kill, takes 2 turret shots, and takes the Wrath of Hundor right to his face as well. So we do have a pretty sizable lead for Leon right now in the lane, sitting up 41 CS to just a 30 of Hundor. So that's definitely where you want to be, but in retrospect, we look down here in the jungle, and Keanu Nakoa and Dark Potato sitting pretty sizably over Aeon as well. That tension bow is not yet complete for this Krull, almost 5 minutes into the game, and Dark Potato is actually coming up on almost a Sorrow Blade.
They found Aeon in the jungle. They're moving forward. They have the movement speed. He's punted backwards and just ripped apart G2. You said it, man. They focus down the Krull. He's so squishy.
Yeah, he has, you know, this pretty much the same natural defense as all of the heroes in the game. What he doesn't have is a high health pool for the fact that he is really a bruiser hero like a Glaive. And we actually have a pause here, so not really sure what's going on yet. I didn't see any disconnections, but maybe we have someone getting some getting a little bit of lag here. So far, Dark Potato doing a great job on this Glaive, though. It has really, with the exception of punting that turret away, used those afterburns really effectively, specifically right there, catching Leon out, or Aeon out. They were able to get the speed boost from Fortress, followed up with an afterburn, and Hundor was able to clean up the kill, making it a 3-1 advantage here now for the side of G2. And again, both of these teams need these points. Whichever one of these teams goes on today has the potential to still make it to the Unified Championship. But if you drop this series, you're done.
Yeah,
so we do have an update. Player disconnection.
Player disconnection. Well, my bad. Didn't mean to disconnect anybody. We will return momentarily. In the meantime, we'll break this down a little bit, and we talked about quite a few different aspects of the game. A couple things, Denominate, I was hoping you could touch on. Looking at Dark Potato's build. You know, I expected maybe we'd see like a tension bow, a little poison shiv coming out here. That's not the game he's playing. He's got different ideas.
Well, there's no actual healing hero on the enemy team. Obviously, the poison shiv does still cut down the fountain, as well as makes Aeon sustain substantially lower. That poison shiv making huge effect. What he's going for is he's going for the Sorrow Blade first, because that's really a huge point where Glaive comes online, specifically into low health pool heroes. And that's what we have out of Aeon and Leon. So the real capitalization here is when he goes in, he wants to get a huge amount of burst down and then have Hundor followed up for a kill. And that's what we're going to see as this game goes on. That's how G2 wins this one. As Leon gets further, oh, here we go.
They've marked Leon. They jump in. They've got the damage. Can they take him down? Leon, the Vanguard coming out of Riorin, keeps him alive. In fact, G2 take quite a bit of damage on their way out. You can see exactly what they're trying to do, but almost a touch of hesitation.
Yeah, and the Vanguard was absolutely huge. We didn't have a fountain, but we now have the fountain online for both teams. The Vanguard came through, but not only that, Leon found a great core collapse, which stunned the enemies up even longer underneath that turret aggro, and that's really what allowed him to get out. If anybody would have then committed to try to get that last hit on them, last hit onto Leon, they would have paid for it with their life as well. So Leon has now completed the Frostburn, wanting to make sure that G2 can't abuse the speed boost that Fortress is going to be able to give to his team. Krull has finally finished a tension bow and has worked into 2 light armors now. So really trying to make sure that when he gets to that backline, when he does go in on Hundor, he's wanting to make sure that he can survive. It'll give him more time to get his stacks up to really reduce the incoming damage of
Dark Potato, afterburn back. They're on to Leon. Celeste trying to get back. Another core collapse. The Heliogenesis is coming down, forces the fountain out the other side. Rio Ren tries to get the kill. But Aeon pulling off of this one, and it feels almost like if Krull had stayed, they'd find it. But they turn around, they chase him down, they take Rio Ren down. From Hill's Heart comes out the other side. What is going on here, Denominate? Aeon takes Hundor down in a surprising turn of events here. Unpredictable.
That fight was absolutely crazy. It was so quick. One thing that happened in that fight that kept it from going straight to Calamity Reborn's side, when Leon went to use his core collapse, he actually hit level 6 at the same time. And when he went to use that core collapse, he actually upgraded it instead of picking up the Solar Storm. If that Solar Storm would have been online, I saw him pause and try to use it. That would have been a kill onto Dark Potato immediately. But because of the misclick, that it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, and just an unfortunate situation for Leon. That's now another level he has to wait for that Solar Storm, as well as very likely going to delay the level 8 on the Heliogenesis as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good pickup, Denominate. I'm glad that you talked about that. And I think that's just one of those things in the heat of the moment. I think we've all done that, you know, in our own games. But even to see one of the best pros in the world do it right here just shows you this is an incredibly tense situation to be in. These guys, they're trying to do everything they can, all in the moment here, maximizing their possibilities. Level 7 for Leon. He now has Solar Storm available.
Solar Storm is available, but again, he is now not going to have those overdriven Heliogenesis at level 8. It will be level 9.
They're on to Reborn. They're bursting
in.
down pretty good. A Gauntlet comes out, feels defensively. The Solar Storm plus the From Hell's Heart. Hundor, you gotta get back. He's repositioned, throws the wave for it. How do they get back in here? Keanu's on the front side. Keanu taking a bunch of damage, doesn't have Fountain any longer. He tried to apply that Dragon Blood, it just didn't do too much. And Dark Potato kind of just waiting on the backside of the fight, like waiting for his afterburn, waiting for the perfect target. That time doesn't come, though.
The time doesn't come, and now this is a huge opportunity for Calamity to really get some damage down on this turret. We see Aeon going in deep,
He gets the Vanguard, Dark Potato, defensive afterburn, Leon, Rio Ren, they all need to drop that turret aggro. They do so successfully with that Denominate. They probably look to take the mid and maybe Gold Miner.
They definitely should be starting up some sort of objective control. Again, getting ahead on the Celeste is absolutely huge for them. Hundor trying to heal himself up on this wave, as well as force Leon to miss out on some. Again, we have a 10 CS lead for Leon here on this Celeste, but he is not going to miss out on anything, really. Good rotation up from him. Oh, he misses the last minion. Just as I say that, of course.
Clip it.
He's going to come down and get the ambient gold here with Aeon in the backs. Really a huge focus now on getting this Celeste to level 9 now. Obviously, we're level 8, and because of that misclick earlier, we do not have that additional range that Celeste so desperately needs. So getting Leon to level 8 is where now this Celeste is really going to come online. Had a great 2-man Solar Storm in that last fight, though, that really helped force the side of G2 back. And, you know, just like that, it was looking good for G2 early, and now Calamity is starting to pick up these fights almost extremely cleanly. I mean, even not picking up any kills there, they were able to force them back far enough that they got some damage down on turret and made Hundor miss out on some farm.
G2 threatening Calamity here. They're looking for this engagement. Leon, he did a little bit of shopping, got himself an infusion. He's back up in the lane now. And now
we are level 9
so,
now.
Yeah, he's got the overdriven Helio. That's incredibly important, as you said. I think that's where Vox is going to start to struggle a bit here. Helio, the From Hell's Heart connects. That was too late on the Crucible. Keanu cleaned up with a Solar Storm from Leon, taking him out with style points.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it's going to be very difficult for Vox, and you know that's something we talked about at the beginning, is really being able to zone out Vox, make it dangerous for Vox to come in and make an engagement is absolutely huge. And look at the amount of damage this Celeste is able to do on the turret here, forcing G2 back again. And Aeon's not even in the fight. He's here, but he's not even in the fight right now.
Aeon is just hanging out, empowered by those shadows. He'll go ahead and port home. These guys going to fill up. It's a Poison Shiv pickup now for Aeon. Got that Poison Shiv, the Tension Bow. He's got himself some armor. He's actually going to stack up some armor here a little bit.
Yeah, again, it's a double weapon composition coming out of the side of G2. And like you mentioned earlier, we didn't see a Tension Bow start out of Dark Potato. So this armor is doing a great job of cutting down specifically the damage that Dark Potato is able to do. Leon has a little bit of armor himself that's really kind of helping them get through these fights appropriately. And now, just like that, we have Hundor really trying to catch up on the farm here, now sitting down 16 CS from Leon. Again, such a huge efficiency here, and 2 levels up on Leon as well. That's making a huge difference in these fights.
I think that comes. Whoa, Dark Potato moving in. Dark Potato, he finds the afterburn. Leon, they give him the Vanguard. He repositions. He's gonna throw Solar Storm out. Dark Potato should live through this, but Hundor, you are in a bad place, friend. You need Sonic Zooms after Sonic Zooms. He needs an Echo for Sonic Zooming. Leon coming through with the heal is almost taking Keanu down in the lane. And Aeon on the chase with Rio Ren. He gets the Vanguard they're going to chase forward. Dark Potato's ready to punt Aeon backwards. Aeon not really scared at all. And he honestly shouldn't be. They're all so low. If he just dead man's rushed in, he'd probably find a kill.
Yeah, and this is huge for the side of Calamity Reborn. They do take down that first turret, which is going to now extend the Krull and Celeste lead. This is a late game composition. They did struggle the first couple minutes, but now they're really starting to take over these fights. We have about a 2,000 gold lead now. You don't have to get the kills, though. In that situation, they got G2 so low that forcing them out of the fight, making them recall to base, was enough that they were really able to take advantage and get that turret down, as well as collect the gold mine, because, again, they knew the side of G2 had to recall. If someone came in, it was a death sentence. And Dark Potato and Hundo are both really respecting Leon on this Celeste, have both picked up an Aegis. Dark Potato picking one up before even completing his second offensive item. So that's a little bit of a struggle on the side of G2. You don't want to commit such an aggressive hero to defense so early.
The struggle is real. Players coming out here from Keanu. He's stacking those up. He's got 5, just making sure they're not going to face check, get caught out here. Ren doing a good job to frontline for his team. He's got the gauntlet available, level 2 gauntlet. If they feel the need, it's such a great tool also for the Celeste to kite back through that gauntlet. And they have to worry about the core collapse, the From Hell's Heart, the gauntlet stunning them up. Aeon moving forward and powered up. Looking for a target. Now we attack the pack. The aggressive play from G2. What's the play? Aeon jumps in aggressively. The gauntlet's down. The Solar Storm coming through. Hundo dropping low. Aeon, Leon, Ren on the aggressive. They're going to boomerang this one around and take Keanu down. Oh, the Fortress, poor little doggy goes down. And now Leon, Ren, and Aeon bring the pain onto the turret here. 648 damage as it goes supernova. What can't these guys do?
They're looking really good right now. Again, the zoning potential out of Calamity is absolutely huge. Dark Potato has to be incredibly careful here. He's playing very, very close. And now Hundo follows up, but look how far back Keanu Nakoa is. And that is going to be Calamity just cleaning up some additional farm out of the jungle there. Really trying to push this advantage now. 5,000 gold in their favor.
Calamity are looking good right now. What plays coming out of these guys? Aeon with the Dead Man's Rush, and as soon as he sees the target, he just jumps on them. Leon on the front line for his team, but he'll quickly reposition if needed. It's almost like debating them out right here. Dark Potato, he's got to turn around as Hundo gets jumped here by Aeon. Attack of the pack, they're all dropping low. That core collapse not connecting, but the Solar Storm's going to clip Keanu. They do block off the From Hell's Heart. Hundo kiting back, Sonic zooming, trying to stutter step. He's doing a good job, but Leon's finding the damage he needs. He takes Keanu down. Dark Potato's low as well. Got to get out of here. Core collapse, they take Hundo down. And now Dark Potato is just a Scooby snack on the platter of Calamity. How would you like it served? I'd like it served hot with the side of a turret shot. Kraken awakens right on time.
Yep, and obviously Aeon here on this Krull going to be able to go and very safely try to take this Kraken, at least as much health of it as he can by himself. He has a lot of sustain from the Poison Shiv, as well as just the natural healing he gets back from those stacks of Spectral Smite. So that is now the choke point turret going down on the side of G2. Calamity looking to make sure this wave stays pushed up, and very likely will be joining Aeon now to complete this Kraken take. But G2 senses something is going on and are starting to now really push out here.
They're fearful. They have fear, Day. They're moving forward. They know something's happening. Keanu wants to make a play, but the Kraken, it's been unleashed. What do you do now? You gotta kill Leon, but you haven't been able to do so. Take the fight. Attack of the pack is out. Gauntlet's down. They're inside, but they're gonna block it off. Dark Potato, he gets onto Leon, knocks him backwards. Keanu on target. Hundo needs to get there, though. Hundo starting to stack up some breaking point, but the Solar Storm comes out the other way. Dark Potato's down. Hundo, he's there with Aeon. Aeon getting the Spectral Smite. Oh, just stacking up the weakness stacks on him. Hundo kiting back. Get him. No, he can't. Deathman's Rush plus the reflex, almost giving him enough time. He'll go down. The Sonic Zoom attack's coming out there. It's just Keanu alive. He'll go ahead and port home, but this looks like it should be all she wrote here. This Calamity just put the boot down on G2.
Yeah, Calamity should have the damage. The Celeste should probably not be focusing Keanu Nakoa right now. Just get the turrets down, really start to push your advantage. That is going to be Dark Potato up, and a good Afterburn's going to put him back.
They get a better Vanguard. The good. The Afterburn, better Vanguard. Dark Potato taking a bunch of damage. Keanu locks on with Hundo. Dark Potato, and every G2 fan available. Happy to see him go down, but this is just going to be a bit of a race here, and it looks like Kraken might be winning. I don't know. Place your bets. 1 for Kraken, 2 for G2.
It's definitely close. I think Kraken has this one, though. Yeah, Kraken has it. Leon and Riren make a beautiful push to end this game. What a amazing game number 1 for the side of Calamity Reborn. They were sitting down at the very bottom of this bracket. They were sitting here with 7 points. They are now, after taking game number 1, tied for G2. So again, whichever team wins this series can make it to the Unified Championships, and whichever team does not get through this game will be staying home.
Ah, the hopes are alive! I'm too stressed out. I can't handle it. I'm throwing it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Humanist. I could definitely relate to your feelings right now. That was an incredible performance from Calamity, especially Leon on that Celeste. Early on in the game, so many times he would escape with a sliver of HP and his core collapses every single time. Just beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and G2, they came into this game with a plan of trying to shut down the Krull early, trying to focus that jungle. If you can get onto the Krull, if you're the one making the plays onto a Krull, you can find the kills, as showcased from the first blood in this game. But then they were never able to translate that into anything. They weren't able to keep that pressure onto the Krull. They never found the pressure onto Leon's Celeste in the lane. I mean, he got through the laning phase entirely unscathed. And with a glaive on your team, that's almost inexcusable against a Celeste or Leon.
Yeah, I mean, G2 started off well. They got a 3-1 scoreline to kick things off, Sweet J, but they weren't able to transition that little bit of a lead that they got into anything more significant.
Yeah, and a few things. I don't know why Glaive rushed Solarblade. They should have went double Tensionable. Solarblade is 2150 versus Solarblade. Tensionable is 2150 versus Solarblade is 3100. It's 950 gold cheaper, which would have given like a 430 5-minute power spike. And they needed to take advantage of the double Tensionable with Fortress. And then on top of that, they needed to focus Celeste. They would engage on Arden in one fight. They would try to focus Cruel. That's exactly what Calamity's comp wants you to do. You got to get to the backline. You got to use Fortress, Truth of the Tooth to get to get the speed, use the Ward Treads, etc., and then just lock Celeste down. If you don't lock Celeste down, Cruel and Celeste did the core collapse Cruel combo, and Fortress just Keanu kept dying actually in a lot of fights.
Yeah, and there were, for the next few minutes after that, it was kind of back and forth between the two teams. But then at 13:30 in the game, that was when things really swung the way of Calamity, and they were able to take an incredibly convincing fight and just start to snowball to a victory.
Yeah, and you're going to see here, first of all, the Solar Storm coming through very early on. Like, when that first out, I was like, oh, they might lose this fight now because they didn't get the big Solar Storm. But what a beautiful From Hell's Heart. The full boomerang shot. If you get hit by a boomerang from Hell's Heart, you're dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's such a long stun, almost a 4-second duration on the stun, and you're just kind of stuck sitting there. It's very frustrating, but from that point on, I mean, really, the side of Calamity, again, Leon, untouched. Like, he's full health when these fights are almost ending. It's just, it was really impressive the way that they were able to keep him safe and protected, but at the same time, a very big problem for G2 that they were not able to get any pressure onto the Celeste.
And this was heartbreaking for Hundor. He finishes this fight on like 15 breaking point stacks. Everyone's so low, but just not quite enough to take.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful core classes by Leon, beautiful gauntlets by Reborn. He landed some nice gauntlet stuns, some double gauntlet stuns. I mean, they just played the comp so well. Cruel landed almost all of his Hell's Heart. They just played to the win condition really well and was able to focus and lock on. And this is here, they actually staggered the Atlas. Fortress Atlases, and you look at Cruel, he Atlases like 3 to 4 seconds later, and they can't blow Celeste up. The double Atlas has already been applied, and there's no damage output. The DPS has been significantly reduced, and Calamity just communicating and playing so well. You can tell that they have much better synergy right now than G2 with how they're playing and comboing and atlasing and staggering the Atlases, etc. And that's why they won.
Yeah, the coordination is clearly there for this team. Then obviously they managed to grab themselves that Kraken and push it on home, finish out the game. And I mean, they even died at the end on that push, but it was enough for the Kraken to finish things off. And obviously you can see that on your screens right now as Leon and Reborn doing their best just to make sure that they can get whatever damage they can down.
And one thing I want to comment, Celeste has the second lowest base health in the entire game. Petal has lower health, but just by 1 HP when level 12. And that's why double Tension Bow made so much sense. They just needed to get onto the backline before Arden could even get level 6. to just basically gank lane and do a lot of work to slow down the Celeste, but Celeste didn't get that much pressure. She got to her late game. At 8:30, Leon got level 12 and Broken Myth and Frostburn, and then it just, you know, G2 just couldn't convert any of the early game. If they don't win early game with this composition, it's over.
Yeah, and you mentioned the base health at level 12, Celeste having the second lowest. At level 1, Celeste and Kroll are the 4th and 5th lowest. So, you know, at the start of the game, both of them are so incredibly squishy. And like Sue just said, it doesn't make sense to not go for the double tension bow in that situation and just abuse the fact that your opponents have low health.
Yeah, and just really taking advantage from that. Now, as we look towards the second game then, obviously, neither of those team compositions were particularly standard. Obviously, like, the Fortress Captain is, like, semi-standard, I would say. It's like a fringe pick. Then you got Celeste on the other side. Again, it's not like it's totally off the wall, but it's definitely not meta either.
And not only is it not meta, but the meta was there. They could have taken it. G2 could have gotten themselves the Catherine Batiste Vox combo, the anti-fun Vainglory composition, and they just didn't bother with it. They were like, you know what? We feel like the Glaive Fortress is going to be better at getting onto our targets that we need, and it was clearly not the case. I think that composition is just so strong. It's strange to me, and it's concerning even if a team does not go for that combo if it's available.
All right, well, we'll see whether that's going to change coming into this game. And you know, Calamity Reborn now being on the A side, maybe that's something they could look towards, or G2 perhaps just managed to sneak that one away. We'll have to wait and see. But Calamity starting things off slow there, using actually a good chunk of that bonus time and still just go with the default first ban.
Yeah, they go with the Baron ban here. That means they want to probably get Grace or most likely Vox if Grace is banned here. So G2 potentially might just ban the Vox, and then Calamity will pick up the Grace. And this means that Sky needs to be picked on the side of G2. If they don't get Sky or something, they're going to lose this draft, especially if Calamity has the Grace. And Rioran is playing so well in the Arden, along with Leon and Aeon having so much synergy. Like, Grace is really strong when a team has strong synergy like that. So let's see what is going to happen and how G2 is going to respond to this Grace first pick that I am predicting.
All right, well, the Grace is going to be locked on in, and with the Vox taken off the table, that's one of the very comfortable counter picks to Grace, but Lyra will be the lock. Yeah,
with Vox off the table, Lyra just makes the most sense going into a Grace. Should match healer for healer. The Lyra has a little bit better healing throughout the early to mid game, whereas Grace late game, her heals are just far more powerful and more impactful than what Lyra can do. So already going to be G2 having to play for this early game, but I have yet to be convinced that they can win a game strong enough in the early game in order to carry it through to the late game.
Yeah, Lyra is a very dangerous pick too, because G2 is not able to win the early game, and Grace is just better than Lyra late game. So the way that G2 is thinking, I would have loved to see a Lance instead, because we saw Lance do really well, and they need to definitely secure the Sky. I mean, Kath is also good into Grace, so I don't know why they would pick Lyra into Grace if they can't play an early aggressive game. So here now, they probably need to deny something that's really strong, like potentially, I would say Koshka, because Leon or Aeon can play that Koshka or an early aggressive combination with Grace that they tend to excel with. So they're going to go ahead and just ban the Blackfeather, which is interesting because Blackfeather is not, a CP Blackfeather especially, is not that strong into a Lyra, because Lyra can just poke. Lyra can just heal from the pokes that he's given. So that's an interesting ban. Maybe they don't want Leon on Blackfeather, but Leon has been excelling on more late game carry heroes like Celeste, etc.
I mean, Leon has a huge hero pool, right? So it's very difficult to target him specifically. I want to point out the fact that G2, they have used a huge portion of their bonus time already, just 3 picks down into the draft. And that goes to show how important this game is to them. They need to think through every single pick and ban here if they want to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah, or they haven't thought about it. I don't like the Cruel ban here because Cruel is not good into Grace. G2 should pick Sky here, potentially, because they need Sky to counter this Grace. Without Sky, I don't see a way for them to win out against the Grace unless they want to try another composition that works better for them. They may go for the Samuel though, to be honest. But they actually pick the Idris here. That leaves Sky, Samuel open for the side of Calamity. We know Aeon plays on solid Petal too. I don't know if that Petal is going to come out here. But they have a lot of odds. They can do Adagio Grumpjaw, for example, is really strong. Adagio Glaive would be really good as well. There's so many combos that they can pick on the side. They can do Celeste again, but that's not that good into an Idris. Or they can do a Lane Glaive into an Idris, which would work really well as well.
Yeah, Idris has been typically an incredibly strong pick, but so far today we've seen less success. Certainly in the first series of today, we didn't see Idris manage to take a game. So we'll see how that's going to pan out in this one. Obviously, different players.
Kestrel.
The Kestrel, though, this is a signature pick for Calamity.
Yeah, it's definitely a pick that Leon is extremely comfortable on. You have to assume it's going to be going weapon power with Leon in the lane. They could flex it, but it's so much more of a Leon hero than it would be for Aeon. Aeon still has plenty of picks left available for him as well that we've seen him be able to have success on.
I think Scarf potentially
Scarf,
here.
Maybe even because it's an Idris and one of those melee heroes, a Petal could come out from Calamity again. They're the only team that was running this Petal frequently and into seemingly
CP
any
Blackfeather,
composition.
yeah. Normally CP Blackfeather, and Aeon just completely destroyed a CP Blackfeather with his Petal. So that would work because Idris has to dive, and Petal and Grace can protect the Kestrel and let Kestrel poke. So that could come out, but I think for them, Scarf would work as well. Sky would work really well to deny a counter pick, and Sky and Kestrel are just so strong late game. Those are two really strong late game heroes when they scale to the late game along with Grace here.
Now, apparently, I've just been told by production that apparently Calamity Reborn have picked Arden. Obviously, the draft client.
Oh, wow. So they're going to do a CP Kestrel with a weapon-powered Grace, looks like.
Yeah. Very interesting way of looking at this draft, especially considering they first picked that Grace. It's a totally different direction. You don't look very happy with this one, Bacon.
More confused. There's a lot of different ways they can go with it. Obviously, the tendencies we've seen from other teams would lead us to believe the weapon power Grace in the lane. That's what SK's been able to make work. I could see Calamity trying to match that, but there's the Scarf for the side of G2, a much more standard composition from G2 here, but you know, maybe the side of Calamity going non-standard is the way to go for them.
Do we think that this weapon power Grace is a response to the Idris pick coming out from their opponents here? Because, you know, Idris isn't that great into Grace, and if you go against him in lane, surely when he jumps on in, Grace can just smack him with her mace, or am I just totally looking at that the wrong way?
Yeah, it could work. Grace is really strong early, especially with like an Arden. You know, Vanguard slow, Grace Benediction slows when she lands it, along with Kestrel's poke. It could work, but late game, they're going to lose. So Scarf is going to stack and land a Dragon's Breath, and they would have 2 stuns to stop it, but those are pretty obvious stuns to dodge, the Holy Nova and the Kestrel Camel.
All right, well, we'll see whether they can play around that Scarf or we're going to be heading on into this game. And let me just remind you guys at home how important this one is for both of the teams. Calamity Reborn are currently 1-0 up in this series. G2 are against the ropes. If they want to go to Los Angeles, they have to win this game. Give them your support on social media using that hashtag Vainglory8, or let us know that you want this to be a 2-0 for Calamity Reborn. Let's find out how the results are going to pan out as we pass it over to our casters and get on into Game 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Calamity Reborn versus G2 Esports. And we have just loaded into the Halcyon Fold. This game is going to be lit. We have Aeon on the Grace, Leon taking the Kestrel here. And we're going to have the weapon Kestrel. Calamity, break this one down for me because this is going to be fun.
This ought to be really interesting. So now, the Grace flexing into a carry position. This is more of a denial than anything else. What essentially this does, it's not the greatest carry, because then when you use your Divine Intervention, use your Holy Nova, you're not taking advantage of the very likely going to be a weapon Grace's damage. So it's just a denial pick to me. It is strong. It'll probably be a I would think it's going to be a tension bow and then a double monocle, just because you have that splash damage on your second attack. You do the area damage, so there is a lot of AoE crit potential. Or we could see something like a tension bow poison shiv, since Leon will likely go a crit build as well. This is going to be interesting. So we have seen SK run some carry Grace, but I think this is the first time we've seen Calamity do so.
Yeah, this is going to be really exciting. And G2 moved down. The Sigil's going to boost up their move speed. Spitfire doesn't quite connect here from Dark Potato. He gets one of his fronts, and will take the other. Keanu on this Lyra should actually do pretty good if he has good timing on his right bulwarks, right? Like, the Lyra does pretty well into the Grace and the Arden.
Yeah, it really does. You can cancel out a lot of the movement that Calamity has. What's most exciting to me, though, is that Tasty Bacon is not getting to see the weapon Arden he's been dreaming of. So definitely going to be exciting. And Aeon has actually gone into the Stormguard banner first. So maybe even seeing a
Just utility.
Yeah, just maybe like an extra utility, protect the Leon.
Protect the Leon.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential with this composition. I think it is iffy because again, you do have to stop and cast your abilities, and as a attacking hero, you are then obviously losing out on your damage potential to try to protect your team. As well as we won't see the Echo very likely. We probably won't see the double Divine Intervention come out. So that's
better. I mean, well, why wouldn't we see it?
I mean, you'd literally have to go into a double support composition, and I just don't think that's the win condition for Calamity. I think the whole point of the Grace is to make a hard engagement and to force a lot of damage down. But man, now G2 looking very, very aggressive here.
A lot of aggression coming out. Now the Vanguard gets Aeon out of there. Rin should be able to get out as well. Dark Potato, Keanu don't actually find anything because most of the jungle was already cleared out. And we actually see Leon, because of this, he moves the backs of G2. Hundor sniffs it out. He's going to move over, finds one basic 2, 3. He's taking Leon pretty low. Leon's going to use Boots, Chakram off the mark. Hundor moving forward. He's on Leon strong. Kiana's there as well. Leon should be going down. First blood to G2.
First blood onto Keanu Nakoa too, so that is going to be a little bit earlier of a fountain out of G2, and Hundor is actually going to go ahead and take the Treant there from Dark Potato. It did look like the Ambient probably went on to Dark Potato there, but that's going to help Hundor get back into the lane here, get some of that sustain. We're not going to have to burn an Imperial Sigil on him at this point from Keanu Nakoa, so that will be ready now. But it looks like we have Aeon down here trying to steal away the farm, and he gets it.
He takes it. Dark Potato wasted time, or invested time, it became a waste. And also his energy, so he has to just go home. He doesn't get anything. That's really a shame. That hurts to watch. Hundor applying pressure with Keanu in the lane. Lyra does give a lot to Idris and his capabilities. You mentioned this earlier, like if Idris goes in aggressive, boom, you just throw the sigil forward. You kind of control the area that he wants to fight in.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly really the benefit of having the Lyra here, is her heal has a pretty sizable range. You can then run a couple things. Very likely, if he's engaging, you want to burst that sigil to get the highest amount of health, since obviously any enemies inside of it will bring that sigil down. But man,
it looked like they might even be able to get out of that one, but no, they chopped him down. It was a very nice goop from Potato.
Yeah, it was, to slow up that movement and really keep him in a kill zone was absolutely huge. And we have all of G2 in the lane looking to get some push here. Will they find
Leon doing his best when the Spitfire connects, though. You see he's dropping low Chakram, Spitfires. Dark Potato not really showing mercy. This Scarf's so good at taking down objectives. We got Divine Intervention from Aeon coming out here. Rin, he's got he threw the Vanguard. They probably would have liked to hold on to that Hundor. He's trying to reposition inside of this bright bulwark, just throwing Chakrams, trying to get attacks off. He's doing a good job on the front line. Aeon is here, though. He got Divine Intervention on cooldown, gets the Vanguard, moves forward. He can Benedict into a Holy Nova at any point, but once he pulls up for that, he does leave himself a bit vulnerable to get hit with Spitfire and Goop combos.
Yeah, especially since you're going to be stuck in place while using that Holy Nova. You have to be careful here. Aeon has gone all the way now into this Storm Crown. Maybe not as much upfront damage as we like to see, but he is going to get the health from that. And here's another Divine Intervention now for Leon, so I guess the cooldown is going to help him out too. But definitely going to be risky going into the late game if you don't have enough damage.
So, okay, I'm just imagining for a second here. Weapon Kestrel, are you guys play any games? Weapon Kestrel, one of like the highest damage output burst damage heroes, like once you get your items in the late game, can just kill the whole team. Usually relies on positioning, correct?
Right.
But in this situation, I'm just imagining, like maybe they could play this out where like if you have these Divine Interventions, you have Vanguard, maybe Leon can play a little more aggressively and less elusively to just get on targets and kill them.
They definitely could do that. There is some degree of sustain that obviously the Grace and the Arden are going to bring forth. However, he still has to be careful. Again, the Spitfire, the Goop would do a lot of damage if he gets hit by one. I think the realistic point is to delete somebody when they try to go in, but we got a
Dragon's Breath coming out from Potato, trying to melt Leon now, but he gets the Divine Intervention, the Vanguard. They turn it around, they bait it, Reborn! They're gonna take Dark Potato down. They want Hundor. The Holy Nova connects onto Keanu. Keanu keeping Hundor alive. Bright Bulwark's down. Shocker, the Shiver Strike, and he takes him out! Leon's down! Hundor gotta reposition. Benediction, and the Sigil's there, keeps him alive, but they take him down. Keanu cannot keep Hundor alive. They're trading back and forth. Man, these teams, their tournament lives are on the line and they're playing like it.
Absolutely. Obviously, Calamity Reborn wants to be able to close out this game. They're pulling something that's pretty off meta into the table, and that can, be a benefit and it can be a risk. I mean, we could see them really surprise G2 with this composition as the game goes on, or it
Active
could be
camo win. Keanu taking quite a bit of damage. Leon's on target. He pulls off. Sorry to interrupt. The damage came out.
You're right. No, you're okay. Kestrel pretty decent into Lyra. Low defense, but man, they find rear end going a little too far. This is one thing I can't stress. And oh, hold on.
Benediction in from Aeon. I mean, rear end got blown up. I was a bit surprised at how quickly he had been blown up there. But Dark Potato, Spitfire, Goop, boom, turret's gone. Money in our pockets. What's up?
This is something that we can never stress enough as casters here is rear end goes in and face checks that bush already low on health with a whole inventory of flares. Well, there's no reason to be face checking bushes, especially against a Scarf composition. Once that Goop comes down and locks you into place, I mean, the Idris and Scarf are just going to be able to rain damage down on you, and that's what we saw there. Aeon actually now completing an Aftershock, so going for a very on-proc kind of build. He will get a little bit of true damage, obviously, out of the Storm Crown. That can splash with the second portion of the basic attack. It is still limited to how much damage per second it can do, though. So Aeon really just looking to get some bursts down to really help Leon chunk somebody out. And that's really their win condition here, is that Hundor engages heavily and just gets blown up. That's the only way that they should be able to win this fight, especially going into the late game against a Scarf.
Well, Dark Potato has made his way up into the lane, flares constantly from Ryuren. He's not going to be caught by surprise again. Calamity know exactly what G2 are thinking here, or at least they know where they're positioned at. Spitfire is coming down the pipe, connects onto Ryuren. He's actually getting burned down pretty good by those. Benediction in onto Hundor. One shot connecting onto Keanu. That really not doing too much damage quite yet.
Well, we have a Sorrow Blade and a Breaking Point completed for Leon now, so looking for more of a duelist kind of Kestrel build, I guess you would say. Someone who's going to ramp up as the fight goes on. But now Leon might be caught here.
Leon, super aggressive plays. Like you said, he moved in with the active camo. Bright Bulwark goes down. All of a sudden, you're left out there. I worry that maybe it's almost too aggressive. In this moment, Crystal Sentry being taken down by G2, a nice objective, nice macro play out of these guys to realize they have an opening. They take the objective. Now Leon, he's is he out of position or just forward in position? He's just forward. Arcane passage forward. Bright Bulwark down. They know that Leon is on this side of the map. He's just gonna try and get something. Maybe before he goes down, or he gets a little bit of regen. Thinking about turning around. Yeah, he's just getting as much farm as possible before he dies here. In fact, he got the backs. Yeah, he got pretty much everything there.
Yeah, he got all of it. So definitely wanting to get this build online. He has 1,800 gold now in his pocket. Will very likely go into either some critical damage here or into some piercing tension bow action. Definitely going to be interesting to see where he goes. But now G2 is looking to push this turret, and they have the Scarf. They could potentially do so.
I think that this makes sense. You keep on the gas right here. Benediction from Aeon. He gets the Vanguard. It felt like they were going to try and get in position to maybe get a Holy Nova off as G2 backed to there, but kind of pulling off of that. Dark Potato, I think right now is the key, it feels like, for G2. Just the Spitfires from range, controlling up with some Goop. Keanu clears out the Scout Trap there, nice for them. But are you feeling the same way? Do you have a different take on this right
now? No, this is, for the most part, definitely on Dark Potato. I mean, obviously, Hundor will have a lot of engaged potential on this Idris, and if he's able to get onto Leon and a flare keeps vision on him, he should easily be able to walk away with a kill. I mean, yes, we'll have sustain coming out of Riren and Aeon, especially with Aeon now having this crystal infusion. He is going to get a little bit of bonus healing as well as bonus damage reduction just based on how Grace's kit works. Going with the poison shiv on Leon though, I'm not sure I like it on the Kestrel. Your goal is to blow somebody up. We gotta fight right now.
We gotta fight. It broke out 5 minutes ago to Nominee. Dragon's Breath coming out, melting down Calamity. Aeon jumps right back in. The holy hold on to 3. Can Leon find the damage? No, he can't because he's dead. He's burning down. He's trying to respawn. Aeon, he's the last one to go down to the ace from G2. They Nominee say, G who?
Definitely G2 trying to make a comeback performance here. So they're obviously down a game here in this series. And again, whichever team wins here has that opportunity to still get enough points to go to the Unified Championships. G2, really one of the former championship teams of Europe, not wanting to give up their spot. Leon here's got to get some damage though. These fights are not lasting long enough. I think that was kind of their goal. They get the Grace, get the Arden, let Leon build up some stacks. That's not how it's happened. Dark Potato has found absolutely amazing Spitfires onto the backline, which has made these fights incredibly short, not giving Leon enough time to build up. That's why we really would have liked to see the critical or the just burst tension bow damage come out of Leon. Force Hundor out of the fight. He's coming in, getting clean damage down. Dark Potato's getting clean Spitfires through the lines. And these fights are really starting to lean onto G2, especially with Scarf now almost completing this Broken Myth is going to be an absolutely huge spike for him.
You said G2 aren't allowing Leon to build up. They're not. They're bursting him down so fast. It's honestly a little bit surprising how fast the damage is coming on. Their target focus has been superior. Let's see what they can do here. Riren, Vanguard back onto Leon. The Arcane Passage, the Bright Board down. Hundor takes the right. Everybody goes right through the Arcane Passage. They're on to Leon. Divine Intervention is out here. Shimmer Strike though. He gets the active gamma down, turns around. Hundor trying to find the damage. Dragon's Breath melting Calamity down. Leon, you can't live through this, bud. There's a double kill coming through here for the ace for G2. 11-2. G2 making it happen. And it's really nice to see G2 showing signs of life here in game 2. Not just signs of life, signs of dominance.
Yeah, and again, this is an important game for them. Obviously, they had a great performance at the Spring Unified Finals, making it all the way down to the semifinals with, I believe it was Gangstars, and actually took it all the way to the last game. They took games in advantage in the early, and it was actually Gangstars that made a comeback. So G2 definitely has a lot of potential here. And again, there's just no damage from Aeon. It's literally dive Leon, kill Leon, and the fight's over. There's nothing that Aeon or Riren can do after Leon drops to bring back a fight. There's too much sustain for the side of G2. The Poison Shiv on Hundor, the Eve of Harvest on Dark Potato, as well as obviously the Fountain and the Imperial Sigil on Kiana and Nakoa. So definitely looking like G2's game to win. There's just not enough damage, and the fights aren't lasting long enough for Leon to be a threat.
Yeah, Leon's constantly trying to reposition using active camo to be elusive. One huge thing I'm noticing, Day, is that Keanu is always throwing vision down where Leon is. So it doesn't matter, like, even if he gets the active camo down, he gets the stealth, like, they still know where he is. So he's never catching anybody by surprise, and he's not bursting anyone down. I mean, in part due to the build you talked about, but also just playstyle. I mean, they're kind of just getting outplayed here.
They definitely are. And again, it's just full commitment from G2 onto Leon. The Aftershock proc, the abilities aren't spammable enough for Aeon to really abuse that Aftershock. And now G2 is looking to rotate up. They see Calamity on this turret, and they could make a huge engagement here.
Leon wants the turret, but he's going to get the Vanguard, trying to reposition. Gauntlet's down, Leon turns. You can see that he wants Dark Potato, but he just can't find the damage onto him. Now the Dragon's Breath going to come out. Dark Potato's like, well, I can roast 1, I can roast 2, I can roast all 3 if I really wanted to. And it's going to be Aeon going down second. Riren will go down on the backside of this fight.
Ace.
Double kill for your Idris coming through. Hundor making it work for himself this time. And just, I gotta say, like, A to Z, G2 just 100% in control of this game.
They absolutely are, and now they're going to take down this Kraken. It should be very, very quick, obviously, with the Scarf. And this should be, with the way they've been winning fights, should be game for G2. Leon in that last fight, that fight was actually starting to get long. And again, there's just not enough damage. There's not enough survival out of the side of Calamity Reborn. And Hundor's not even dropping below 90% health. We saw Dark Potato drop a little bit there, but he has a Metal Jacket complete. There's just nothing this build from Leon can do. There's no piercing, and the fights aren't lasting long enough for Breaking Point to do really anything. So this is just poor itemization by Calamity here, and Scarf obviously pushing up with this Kraken should be able to find some pretty huge damage onto the turrets, let alone if they can find Leon again here.
Leon jumps in there, kind of just moving G2 back. The War Charts from Reborn. What's the play? Another Arcane Passage, and Holy Nova cancels that off, but Dark Potato winds up with his ultimate one more time. Aeon doing a good job on the front side. Leon really can't find too much damage, but he's stacking Breaking Point a little bit. 14 stacks, and that's just Leon. He's left to his own devices. Now what do you do? It's like your defenses are gone. You didn't find the damage output in the beginning. Double kill comes through for Dark Potato. That's the ace for G2. And what a performance. I mean, these guys, they looked hungry. I haven't seen them play like this since last season.
Yeah, this is definitely a team that's been on the bottom end of the spectrum. We've seen them go into games where we really thought they were just going to be able to beat some of these lower teams coming into this season overall, Split 1 and Split 2. And they had a huge performance here. Hundor did an absolutely great job on this Idris, and it's going to be exciting to see Game 3 again. This is probably the most important game in this particular day. I mean, whichever team goes on here has the potential still to make it to the championship.
All right, Munchables, analysts, break this one down for us. This is intense.
What a one-sided game, going the way of G2 there, turning game 1 on its head, flipping the result. Now we're going for a 3-game series. Let's start from the very beginning there. G2 managing to pretty much control the game the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, that was really just out of the gate. There just was not the tools needed on the side of Calamity, we'll say, for them to be able to find the team fight victories. And they had the idea behind this composition, I would assume, is that they wanted to have this big tanky front line in the Grace and the Arden so that Leon could then just do all this damage from the back lines. But constantly, the members of G2 were able to get onto that back line and take Leon out of the fights.
I mean, Leon finished the game at 0-7-2. That when you think about Leon, a scoreline like that seems unimaginable, Sweet.
Yeah, all the builds don't make sense too. I mean, like Bacon mentioned, like why is Grace trying to finish Stormcrown, rush the aftershock, get more CP, and why is Kestrel building Poison Shiv? She has 130% basic attack damage on her Glimmer shots. She does not need to apply Poison Shiv. She needs to apply Crit and Burst to blow someone up. And I don't know why he built Poison Shiv on Kestrel. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, and then later on in the game, we started to see G2's composition come into its own. They got 3 aces back-to-back within 3 minutes. That is insane how it kind of went from a very close game to suddenly G2 just winning everything.
Yeah, and you can see in these fights, like, the Spitfires are not getting blocked up. Then when the Dragon's Breaths come out, no one can block that for a Kestrel. That's one of the things, like, this composition is all about just blocking damage, trying to keep opponents away, and you can't block that Spitfire. You have to stun it up. This fight in particular was one that, Sweetjay and I were watching, we're like, they just landed a 3-man Holy Nova and still got swept in that fight. Like, that's just unbelievable how much farther ahead G2 was at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and plus, like, if you can't take advantage of the stun, if you're CCing somebody and your carries isn't there, just back off. I don't know why Leon tried to fight. They just handed the ace over, and then gave G2 a 5k gold lead. And then from there, they just focused down Leon really well. Even with Divine Intervention, Kestrel just didn't stand a chance. And you can see Starf's Dragon's Breath, like I said, not a lot of stuns to stop it. The Dragon's Breath just did so much work from the back line.
Yeah, I've got to say, I really like the fact that they just totally ignore the Grace in the fights as well. Because Grace, yes, you got a bit of burst damage, but other than that,
you don't even have a bit of burst damage. With this build, like, I could rant for so long on this Grace build right now. I much prefer to see the CP Grace over a Weapon Grace. But going for only an Aftershock as your offense, as a Crystal Grace, that is 35 Crystal power. When you factor that into the damage you're dealing, Holy Nova has a 200% ratio. That's 70 extra damage you're getting. And then on the Benediction, it's just a 100% ratio. So 70 and 35 damage. That's all you're adding versus a Captain Grace with no CP. You are literally adding 100 damage over the course of your full ability rotation. That is useless in a late game team fight. It is absolutely useless. This is one of your damage dealers. One of your 2 damage dealers is giving you 100 damage. That is so bad.
Yeah,
I'm so angry with this
Which is why
build.
they itemized armor. They didn't build any shield. Just
They
armor.
didn't need it.
Kestrel just couldn't do anything. There's way too much armor, no pierce.
And every single fight, they just focus onto that Kestrel. Let's talk about this next draft upcoming. Obviously, in that one, Leon was meant to be the hyper carry for this squad. That was clearly the plan. Didn't work out. Can they go for a similar draft? Do they have to just change things up totally again? I mean, obviously, they're swapping sides of the draft as well. Like, what do you expect to see come out of Calamity to kind of plaster up some of the damage that they actually did during that last series?
Well, Battle Royale drafts like that don't work, first of all. And I think they need to play like what they're good at. Get a Cruel. Don't ban it. Like, you know, get the Cruel. Combo it with Grace like they've shown us before. Get a Celeste with that Cruel or a strong, like Leon plays a Dodger really well. Dodger has a place in this meta against specific compositions. You know, there's a lot of picks that they could have done instead of the draft that they just did.
All right, well, we'll see how it's going to turn out. G2 actually banning away the Lyra. Obviously, they first picked that last time. There was a little bit of a question around it on whether Catherine would have been better. It worked out amazingly. 2-0-14 last game. 100% kill participation. And now we're going to see Baron as the first pick.
The chances for G2 just went up 100% because of the parent pick. Now we have Idris picked here. I think they should definitely ban either Baptiste or Cruel because Cath and Baptiste are still open. So they definitely need to ban one of those. And then if they ban Baptiste, they should take Cruel or something.
Yeah, for anyone who may be questioning about their chances going up 100% statement, if you haven't been watching Vainglory8, if you didn't watch last season, Hundor on Baron is an absolute treat. It's not a perfect win rate for him going back to last season, but it is just about. He is absolutely phenomenal with this hero, so it should be a pretty fun one to watch. They usually only pull it out when they absolutely need a win. Right now, they absolutely need a win.
If you need, if there's any time G2 has needed a win, this game is absolutely it. Lance going to be picked up by Calamity. This is a hero that we've seen have huge success so far this week.
They may do Arden and Cruel potentially here, or if they want to go a little risque, Sky. But given that it's Lance and Idris and potentially another melee, you know, they could also even do Petal with Baron, which is really good against melee, and they can just basically protect the Baron with Arden Petal. Or Arden Sky would work. So let's see if... But Keanu also plays a good Finn, so Finn could also come out because Finn is good into Lance. He can't be gifted walled, he can't be moved. So we could see a Finn potentially come out with the Samuel here. Whoa, there we go. Wow, nice draft. But it is a late game draft. Mid game and late game, huge power spike. So let's see what Calamity's going to finish this off with.
Yeah, Calamity, a few options available. That Finn obviously going to go well into the Lance. And we've seen Dark Potato play Samuel a great many times in the past. So comfortable pick for him. Now Calamity, where do you go for Aeon here? What's the
Celeste jungle would be good.
Yeah,
you want to play range.
With range, late game hyperscaling, that can build broken mid stacks off of this Finn really easily, but isn't going to get absolutely nuked by a Baron in one shot. As long as you can survive that initial burst. If you can just, if that's all you have to do, just survive the initial burst, have an Eve of Harvest, heal yourself back up, because you're going to be building up those broken mid stacks the entire time off the Finn, you can then heal yourself by a lot, or even just counter burst the Baron. It's a tough task. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but it is a strong call. Either the Celeste or the Scarf would have been really the only two options.
Pretty sunny weather forecast, you would say, huh? Okay.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Yeah, not even gonna acknowledge that one, I'm afraid. So, looking at the compositions then, obviously the Celeste final pick. Do we think that's going to be enough? Are we going to see something like a Slumbering Husk just to try and deal with the Baron in these late game fights?
Yeah, just keep Baron away from Celeste. Get to late game, and Celeste can just outpoke both of them. But Samuel can also engage. But you have Lance. Lance is great at body blocking and also pushing away Samuel or Baron away from Celeste. And then Idris can just dive the person that's low. So We'll see. If they can combo Lance with Idris and Celeste Core Collapse, that could work really well as well.
So both of these teams we've seen have very aggressive early games, regardless of composition. Is that something we expect to see here? Is the pressure just too high in this game?
I don't know if we see really early aggression coming out of G2 in terms of like the level 1 rotation, because Finn is just way too slow to be able to really make those work, and Samuel needs that level 2. So it's going to be early on. I think the favor is for Calamity.
Okay, well, we'll see whether they can pressure that advantage and push it towards a victory. It's time to head into the third game of this series. Do or die for both of these teams. Whoever loses this one will go home. Hashtag Vainglory8. Tweet this one out. Tell your friends. Everybody get in here because it's time for game number 3.
Game 3. The pressure is on. The pressure is immense as G2 Esports are going to try and take down Calamity Reborn. And Calamity are going to be coming right back at them. Both these teams have so much to lose and so much to gain here, Denominate.
Yeah, and I do have to give the edge here to G2. Hundor has had absolutely great performances on this Baron, just a hero that works really well for him. Leon does have the Idris, though. That is some potential if he's able to find the damage to close it out. This game, again, this is going to rely on Dark Potato here for me. If he's able to get some good siege down, really allow Hundor the ability to get to the late game, that's going to be the win condition for G2, is making sure Hundor gets 4 items as soon as possible. We got a little bit of fight breaking out here.
Little bit of a skirmish. I'm not sure that this is going to continue. Hundar jump jetted down to go ahead and defend his allies, and I think that just forced Calamity off.
Yeah, and Aeon did get a good good core collapse to really prevent Hundor from coming in any further. We talked a little bit about the win condition for G2. Looking over at the side of Calamity, getting Aeon to a point in the game that he can zone out Dark Potato and Hundor, that's really going to be where Calamity needs to look to get their focus to really get through this game. If Aeon's able to poke out Hundor, get him low, that's what's going to give Leon that potential to dive in and get a very execute-like attack off onto either Hundor or Dark Potato. Both of them are obviously going to be relying on their positioning, so if Celeste is able to limit their freedom, then that's really what Calamity has to do to be able to bring down this Baron.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. For me, when we're a little bit of an engage down in the jungle, looks like Dark Potato should take the Elder Train. Aeon trying to steal it. Core Collapse off the mark. Dark Potato outplaying him, running circles around him. The Elder Train will go the other way, but first blood to Dark Potato.
And getting this Samuel to the late game is going to be huge too. Once Samuel gets those overdriven Malice and Verdicts, that's going to be where we're going to start to see a huge spike of damage come out of Dark Potato, specifically onto Leon. If he's able to prevent Leon from making a safe engage onto Baron.
A lot of damage in the lane, Denominate. I don't know if Under is going to pull the trigger and go for an attack onto Ria Rin. Jump jets forward. Ria Rin's down! G2's got 2 kills here.
That was a pretty aggressive play from Rear End to come out that far, and Hundor pretty much gets out of it unscathed. So definitely taking the advantage early with the Baron is where G2 wants to be again. Getting this Baron online as soon as possible is what they need
Aeon
to get
core
done.
collapse onto Dark Potato in the jungle. He throws the Helio. Dark Potato with the Malice Verdict. The Corrupted Genius there. Hundor, the jump jet's down. Throwing out the mortars. It doesn't connect onto Aeon, but the Malice over the Verdict will not jerk from Dark. He gets him with the second round of Malice. Dark Potato finds another kill. 2 kills, 3-0 in favor of G2 coming out hot.
G2 being very, very aggressive here in the early game, making a huge performance. Again, I do like their composition much better, but it's still a lot of potential for the side of Calamity. Again, Leon, one of those huge names in Europe, particularly in the Vainglory community, so they do have a pretty clear win condition. We found some great kills here out of G2 early, though. Dark Potato has really been playing this Samuel well.
Dark Potato is playing like his life's on the line, and I mean, for all extensive purposes, his tournament life is here. This is a situation where you perform or you start thinking about next season. G2 look like they really want to move forward here. Keanu with the Blight Company has to use boots to reposition. Shocker almost taking him down. It actually will. Rio Rin shall be traded out 1-for-1 here as Calamity get themselves on the board. And while it's 4-1 Denominate, we look at this net worth, it's really not too big of an advantage G2 have been building up.
Well, they've gotten the kills, but they haven't really been able to push anything with it. So, unfortunately,
Jump jet,
well, here we go, man.
I got him.
I mean, I guess I don't understand here why Celeste is playing so far forward. You have your Heliogenesis, you can clear out the wave from behind the turret. That was a pretty heavy misplay on the side of AN there. He should not have dropped, so that is... I don't understand the aggression there. Rear End's going to take a bit of damage, though.
Solar Storm coming through! Oh, nice jump jet to avoided by Hundor. The Solar Storm across the map from Aeon, that would have been cute if that had connected.
It would have been huge, but it didn't. Hundor, a great player. Definitely a great jump jets out of the way. I thought for sure that was going to hit him. But, you know, that is going to be a miss. And Keanu Nakoa, obviously having the Life Spring, will be able to heal all that damage back up in the lane. And now Dark Potato is rotating down to the shop, looking to probably complete the Frostburn here.
Yeah, Frostburn's such a great tool on the Samuel. What is this? Shroud step forward. Hunter taking a lot of damage with the Chakram there. He just jump jets backwards very defensively. That's missed on the Impale. Aeon really trying to follow up. The Core Collapse connects. But this is Dark Potato. Dark Potato, what are you doing? You're so far forward. You've gone too far. And Calamity have forced him to pay the price. As I watch that series of events unfold, it feels like this is coming down to shot calling. Like someone was shot calling Aeon forward and someone shot calling Dark Potato forward. Leon, he's on the backside of the turret here. What's the play? Quibble connects. Basic attack coming out of Hundor. They're just going to defend this. Calamity should get off of this. But do you get that feeling as well?
I definitely do. And both of these teams have a huge siege capability. Both the Celeste and the Samuel can come up and put a lot of lane pressure. And it's been really aggressive rotations out of both G2 and out of Calamity. But now G2 looking to keep that aggression up.
Yeah, why not? Drifting Dark, Malice and Vertex connecting onto Leon, splashing through. The minion wave coming down the lane here. Good damage coming out. The turret feeling quite threatened at this point. Hundor, he's feeling good though. Got that Sorrow Blade, just throwing out his porcupine mortars. They're so spiky, so explosive. Such slows coming out. Hundor's gonna go ahead and just back right here. What's he gonna pick up for himself? He's going Tension Bow.
Yeah, definitely the Tension Bow second. Really get that Pierce. That's going to prevent the enemy from effectively building any defense against you. You know, we're still on 2.6. This is still a 12% Pierce Tension Bow, as well as that raw burst damage that the proc provides. So definitely a smart item out of Hundor. We'll very likely see the Tyrant's Monocle come out third, just for that initial burst out of the jump jets. It does scale off of weapon power, but man, Leon going deep here.
Yeah, he's chunking Hundor down. Porcupine Mortars plus the Quibble connecting, though. You know, talking about the Quibble coming out, we're waiting on massive power spikes for G2. I mean, there's power spikes across the board for all of these teams, of which Aeon has just hit his at level 8 with the overdriven Helio. Let's see if they're going to fight. Force Accord pulls Aeon in. They're just going to burst him down. They've lost the Celeste. Hundor with the jump jets back. Leon, nowhere to go. No initiation to follow there. And now they are on the back foot. Denominate, they just burned their fountain. G2 are looking very good to siege this turret. They're going to take this turret down. What else will they take on the map?
Well, they could go for a gold mine here. It's going to be a little bit risky now that the entire team of Calamity Reborn is up. We do have Aeon also having that Solar Storm available. So they have to play it a little bit cautiously here. They are going to lean away from the gold mine, as obviously that scout trap did give some vision and clearance over there to G2. Obviously, Calamity now rotating over to make sure no funny business is going on. That is first turret down for G2. Getting that 900 gold is definitely going to help Baron out here. Tension Bow is complete, and that Monocle has now begun. And everybody's going to be back in the lane in time to keep this turret safe for G2, and they may look to pick a fight here.
Yeah, both teams kind of getting the superior positioning before making the engagement happen. 10 seconds before Forced Accord will be ready to be used again. And what a Forced Accord in that last engagement. Keanu realizes there's no block for Aeon. There's no Crucible just yet. It just was completed by Rio Ren here, so he'll have that available for his team. But a very nice job by Keanu. Shroud step by Leon, trying to avoid the damage, the Porcupine Mortars that are coming out, the splash damage out of Hundor. And all the meanwhile, Dark Potato's sitting on the backside, waiting to throw his Drifting Dark. There it goes. The Malice Verdict onto Aeon, but Leon jumps forward onto Hundor. They immediately start to return the damage. Rio Rin. No, he's getting back. Nice Crucible blockage there. Keanu throwing that Force to Cord. So nobody quite connected, but Leon maybe thinking about Hundor. Chakram, he's moving forward with the boots. He's on to target. Shimmer Strike there. Solar Storm coming through as well. They take him down, though. Hundor lives through it. Hundor, the first Baron. He could be the last Baron we ever see as well. Oh, my beautifulness. How did they live through that Fountain Blight Company? So much survivability.
Yeah, the Polite Company really gave him a lot of fortified health there, which was able to help him sustain. And then obviously Leon using the Shimmer Strike
Leon's
on
in
him.
a bad place, bud. Denominate, does he? He takes Dark Potato down, get wrecked. Core collapse. I'm about to black out. I've lost too much oxygen. Aeon will go down. Keanu waltzes away. Oh my goodness, the damage.
Both of these teams are playing incredibly aggressive. Dark Potato is now down, but Leon, I don't think, has the clear speed yet to, well, at least for this big of a wave, to push out this turret. So that's not even going to be any chip damage getting down onto this turret. So losing out Dark Potato there and finding Aeon on the return, not a bad trade out for G2, because that's going to put Celeste even a little bit further back in the jungle now and not going to be able to make a safe rotation.
They aggressively jump in onto Hundor. The Chakrams cutting through this Baron right now. But G2, under the safety of their turret, they feel that they can stand their ground here. And it definitely makes sense. They're doing a good job thus far. Yeah, okay, net worth, it's in G2's favor, but not massively. Aeon moving forward, he's level 11, throwing out these Helios, making him go Supernova. Keanu doing a good job to tank up the majority of this damage. Impale resisted off by the Fen. Keanu, he's on the front side of this fight for his team for so long. He may have to self-fountain here in a little bit if he wants to keep tanking this up. He has War Shards, so they're going to pull the trigger onto Hundor. The Shimmer Strike back. Leon able to take him down. Rio Rin's in deep with him. Big damage coming out. They've traded for Leon, though, and Dark Potato. Seems like he's on the wrong side of the fight, but Aeon being controlled up by Keanu. Dark Potato's going to turn around. Corrupted Genius! Is he going to take him down? No, Aeon! He's able to take him down. Rio Rin comes in with the last hit. Keanu, Polite Company, stomps the ground. Impales out of Rio Rin. This is a battle of the captains, Denominate. The battle of the captains for all time. At the end, nobody will die there from the captains. But this is a bloodbath.
It has been absolutely crazy. It is a 10-kill lead, well, 10 to 5 kill lead for the side of G2. Keanu Nakoa obviously on this Finn, not susceptible to all the crowd control Rio Ren was able to put down. So definitely finds a way out. Hundor getting some good splash damage down here.
Hundor's getting splash damage. He's getting straight on damage. All the damage a Baron could want right now. And you talked about his item progression. He's building into that 4th item right now. It was already scary amounts of damage before, but now the damage is immense. Leon pretty much has to rely on just not getting caught. Oh, what's the play for Leon here, Denominate?
Again, the play for Leon here is let Aeon get some poke damage down, let Dark Potato or Hundor get low, and then go in and really abuse the bursty damage that that this Idris should have. And that's just not something that we've been able to see. He's gone in too far when he's chose to go in, and that's really given a lot of damage.
He goes in so far to dominate! Oh, almost taking Dark Potato and Hundor, but he repositions. He's alive. Leon making the plays that the team needs. A nice block on the Force to Cord. Calamity moving forward. They want to deny G2 admission to the Unified Live Championship. And right now, it feels like they might have the tools to do so. G2 on the back foot. Leon moving forward. A Shroud Step to shock him, but damage from Hundor. Leon has to respect it. The turret takes him down. The turret's still alive. Rio Ren isn't going to go down here. The explosion from the turret would have taken him down, but he gets out with a combat roll forward. Hundor living life on the edge.
Hundor living a very, very aggressive playstyle here, is able to clean it out. They do lose on that turret, but they do find Leon. That last turret shot comes through, and we have to look at Leon's build here. He has gone 4 offensive items here on Idris. He's going to have a lot of damage when he goes in, but he is going to take a lot of damage in return. And into Baron Samuel, I'm not sure that's the right choice. Goldmine goes over to G2, and G2 really just looking to keep Baron in a position that he can stay ahead. Fourth item well on its way for Hundor, a little bit later than the last game that we saw out of them. But definitely a good position for Baron to be in. Leon is, 20 CS ahead. But, obviously Baron, such a late game threat. They have a lot of potential here. If they find a fight coming into 15 minutes, they could find a turret and a Kraken. And here's
Impale blocked off. Keanu, polite company for G2. Keanu, you can see he's just looking for that force to court. Who's it gonna be? Goes the teleport. Quibble connects. Aeon getting down pretty low, but they can't commit quite in there. Solar Storm coming out the other way. Aeon, dude! Force the cord comes out, blocked off. But now it's Hundor. Hundor found an opening. He's got the damage coming up, but Leon gets on the target. Hundor turns around and crits him. 559 damage. Leon's gonna be thinking about that number. He's gonna try to go to sleep tonight, and he's gonna see 559 in red floating above his head.
Yep, and now as G2 rotating down here to the Kraken, Hundor should have enough gold in his pocket to finish the Tornado Trigger, and that is the item he indeed does go for. And now G2 looking to get this Kraken down. Lance is incredibly far away. This could be a very strong push coming out of G2. They have so much damage available to them, both versus objectives and versus players. Hundor obviously working into the armor now, upgrading it to the tier 2. Should help him survive if Leon makes a gauge. And again, only a reflex block on Leon. He is almost fully susceptible to all the damage, but we gotta fight
Calamity,
him now.
they're making the jump though. Hundor taking a bunch of damage. He turns around, he gets the jump jet, attacks off Rio Rin, tries to get the Atlas Pauldron. He does apply the Atlas Pauldron, but Keanu's still on the front side. They lost Rio Rin, the Solar Storm connects. Aeon melting down low, but they've lost Hundor. Aeon goes down, and now it's Leon on a sliver of health. He's forced to get out of here. Leon doesn't like to run. Chakram cutting Keanu down here. And Leon, he's gonna try and get some damage down onto the Kraken. Keanu moving forward. He's gonna take it down, but the ballast, the verdict. He shiver strikes onto Dark Potato. He'll go down. Dark Potato with the Kraken. Last man standing on the Halcyon Fold. G2.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the choke point turret now going down for G2. There's not really anything that the side of Calamity can do to stop it. Reren is gonna force Dark Potato back, but he did a good job cleaning up Leon there in that fight. Leon did find a good kill onto Keanu Nakoa, but there is now a null wave gauntlet complete for Keanu Nakoa. Now this isn't 2.7. It does still cost the full amount of gold. We don't have that change yet. I'm actually more surprised that we don't see an echo coming out of Keanu Nakoa. Every single force accord has been blocked out by Reren. So getting a second force accord down would be absolutely huge for Keanu Nakoa. Grouping the enemies up, allowing Hundor and Dark Potato to get that splash damage would be absolutely devastating.
Calamity feel aggressive. Here. Leon, he's onto Hundor. Hundor trades the damage. He stands his ground. The null wave came out onto Leon. Leon gets wrecked. G2 are doing it. G2 have the damage onto Riorin. Where's your jump jets? There it is. The double kill for Baron. Hundor making the plays. Hundor was the first Baron we ever saw to find success, and here, when it matters the most, that these guys find a victory, he takes the Baron again. Can Aeon defend this? Denominate G2 marching down onto the base. Solar Storm coming through onto Hundor. Goes through, puts him in the dirt. G2 finding the fight that they needed, and they're gonna try to close this one out here in about 18 minutes into this game. Keep their unified live championship chances alive, but Leon's back. Leon's not having any of this. I predicted too early? It looks like I have, as they're gonna back out of here. They're gonna leave Keanu for dead as well. We do have an exposed Vein Crystal though, and this game is on a knife's edge.
Exposed Vein Crystal and Baron, such a huge damage source, able to jump that wall. We need to see some vision come out of Calamity here, because again, this could be a potential opportunity for both Keanu Nakoa and Dark Potato to really stop recalls and give Hundor an opportunity to really push if they, choose to do so. They've been winning the fights well enough that I think they can just take one head on and really come out on top. Calamity is starting up the Kraken, and with Celeste have a opportunity that they could take it very quickly.
Dude, Leon might be able to catch
obviously
him
with
here.
that,
Leon's hiding in the brush. He moves in.
Something.
He's on to Potato. Potato eats the chakram. The Shroud Step over the top. The Shimmer strike in. He throws the Oblivion Massaged out, but Leon, he's taking big damage coming out of Hundor. He's trading. No, he goes down. Leon tries to make the plays, but he's going to die. Kraken will be captured up here by Calamity, I think. Maybe? Oh, yeah, they get it. But Aeon gets trucked down by Hundor's big damage coming out here. And this should be a free Kraken for... No, this should be them taking the game. They're just going to move in here. I mean, they lost the Potato, but they lost Leon as well on the other side. G2, Keanu, Hundor move in. They're going to try and end this game, or they're really going to do it. Atlas Baldwin from Rio Ren onto Hundor. Helios are down. Hundor, he's looking to get the damage onto Aeon. Big damage coming out. The core collapse lands, but he crits Celeste down. Keanu actually finding the kill there. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this should be the end of the game. Leon spawning right here, right now. Jump jets over, Porcupine Mortar, and one more attack from Hundor will do it. Taking the series 2-1 and moving forward into day 2. G2 making the plays.
Yeah, G2 coming out on top here is more beneficial, obviously, over Calamity getting these points just because they were already a point ahead. So that is just a little bit more of an edge they got here. They're that much closer to going on to that unified championship and really trying to reclaim that name that we know of G2 being one of the top European teams. That is game number 3, series going on over to G2. Humanist. What a great bit of EU Vainglory here.
It both feels good, man, and it feels bad, man, for both of these teams. But let's keep this moving forward. We'll go ahead and throw this over to Munchables and our analysts.
Feels bad if you're a Calamity fan, but if you are a G2 fan, you can rejoice. They have kept themselves alive. They move forward into the semi-finals, but the work isn't done just yet. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty with the points after this, but let's analyze that game just a little bit. How did things start out, Bacon? Because towards the end, yes, the fights were fairly one-sided, but it was on a knife's edge, right? So many of those fights could have gone the other way.
Yeah, there were so many times where early on we saw why Idris is considered a counter into the Baron. There was multiple times where Leon was able to just